In the beginning, the universe was created. This made a lot of people very angry and has been widely regarded as a bad move.
What a 42-carat plonker you really are!
Now you listen here. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Now go away.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. And we're approaching Christmas now, so this is very close to Christmas. And I thought it would be nice to do a fun video about fun stuff. So, what I'm talking about is laughter. Laughter is a magical thing that can take you out of a mood that you're in. It can make you feel better physically. It can wipe away something that has been bothering you for days, for a few moments. It can be an amazing communal thing, and it's infectious. Laughter is extremely healthy, and it's something we need in our lives. It's something that it's worth gravitating towards, so you can actually deliberately pick up something that you know will make you laugh, or go to something that will make you laugh, if it's TV or film or something like that. I'm picking 10 books that might make you laugh. The reason why I say might make you laugh is that clearly humour is subjective. And if I said all of these 10 books will definitely make you laugh, then I would be wrong, because not all of them will. And some people may even know some of this stuff and go, nope, that's not going to work for me. But some of it will. And I just think it'd be nice to just send a message out to not forget how important and transforming laughter is, and some suggestions here of some books that may be of interest. What I'm thinking really is you might be out and about in a charity shop, or whatever the American equivalent of a charity shop is. Or even somewhere, there could be in another country watching, I don't know, Australian version of a charity shop. But anyway, you may be just wandering around and you see one of these kinds of books and you think, actually, yeah, this I'm going to have a flick through this. And yes, it does make me laugh, so I'll get it. So I'm thinking along those lines. Let's start off with an absolute classic that genuinely does make me laugh every time I read it. I absolutely love it. I want to do a special video on it once I've reread the second book. But Alice's Adventure in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll. I think it's genuinely funny. It's obviously crazy and deeply fascinating, but it is funny. It's really witty. Some of the lines I think are laugh out loud funny, and it's endlessly quotable. So, Alice in Wonderland, if you haven't got it, or you haven't read it in a while, or you've thought about maybe reading it one day but you hadn't got round to it, it's well worth it. Don't worry about it if you've seen lots of versions of it, because the book's better than all of them. So, Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. My choice for number 1. Second thing is what I was talking about a minute ago. So it's the cartoonist element of my collection, but I think it's quite a universally liked cartoonist. So I could get quite obscure if I was going to go down that road. You can just see the top of a Charles Addams book there, and a bunch of Hunt Emerson books there, and a bunch of other ones down here. But I'm going with the far side, Gary Larson. So I'd say Gary Larson would hit the nerve, the funny bone of anyone really that read it. So you may know Gary Larson stuff already, but this is the gallery. So this is one of the 5 galleries that he brought out, which compilations of these smaller books that he brought out. So this is the big one, and it's made up of 3 of these, and you tend to find these short, long books in a lot of second-hand shops. So thoroughly recommend them. They are extremely good. So if I just pick a few at random, this is the first one I just found. So anyway, you get the idea. So I mean, that's from Beyond the Far Side, but there's tons of them, and there's 5 compilations. I think I've got all of them, but anyway, Gary Larson, The Far Side, is thoroughly recommended. This is an interesting book I found, which is called Funny Ha Ha. It's 80 of the funniest stories ever written, selected by a very familiar man to English people, British people, Paul Merton. So Paul Merton was a comedian who got well known in the early days with a TV show, Whose Line Is It Anyway? Which has now got an American version, hasn't it? But it started off in the UK, and he was a regular on the British version of Whose Line Is It Anyway before it went American. And he's also possibly most famous now for being one of the captains in a long-running political satire program called Have I Got News For You? But anyway, this is an interesting anthology which features really funny stories by Margaret Atwood, Kevin Barry, Robert Benchley, Mikhail Bulgakov, Anthony Chekhov, G.K. Chesterton, Peter Cook and Dudley Moore, Noel Coward. What else we got? Joyce Grenfell, Galton and Simpson, Jasper Ford, Nora Ephron, Somerset Maugham, Spike Milligan, Joyce Carol Oates, S.J. Perelman, author of, scriptwriter for the Marx Brothers, Edgar Allan Poe, James Thurber, Mark Twain, Kurt Vonnegut, H.G. Wells, Oscar Wilde, P.G. Wodehouse, Victoria Wood, tons and tons of people. But that's just a big, quick, sweeping overview of the huge amount of people. I mean, this is just a quick, those are the people that are in it. So if you want to pause the video for a second. And yeah, I haven't had a proper delve. I've read some of them. But yeah, I'm looking forward to having a proper read of this whole thing. Nice floppy book, as we were talking about with the perfect book tag. So that's the Funny Ha Ha anthology. New Yorker. Any kind of New Yorker cartoonist anthology is worth having. So if you ever find anything like that, they are amazing. So obviously, Charles Addams wrote for the New Yorker, or should I say write for it or drew for it? He drew cartoons for the New Yorker, as did a bunch of other people. This one's quite cerebral, but I think it's really funny if you can connect to it. Jokes about death is always good. This is quite a cool one. So anyway, collections, anthologies of cartoons, especially New Yorker ones, are always worth having. So flick through those and probably make you laugh. This is possibly more subjective, because I have heard that one of the booktubers that I watch a lot, that I've made friends with, doesn't like Monty Python. Not really sure how that happens, but there are people in the world that don't find Monty Python funny. So I would say that the films and the TV series Flying Circus are quite different. The Flying Circus series was completely mental, and the films definitely had more grounding on them, and there were more witty humour, with a few crazy moments, but they were more witty humour and satire and stuff than the absolutely insane sketches. But there's a great book from Monty Python's Flying Circus, which is called Just the Words, and it's every sketch. It says volume 1 on there, but I'm pretty sure volume 2, yeah, is the other side. So, but yeah, every sketch. Scripted out with with classic photos, like the point mug painting is the Gumby there. And if you find Monty Python funny, especially Flying Circus sketches, then you can find the Dead Parrot sketch in there. You can find the Spanish Inquisition, and nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition, but they're in there. And you can find the Confuser Cat sketch, which is insane, and the Lumberjack song, and the psychiatrist sketch, the argument sketch, all that stuff is in there. Cheese shop sketch. So yeah, if you like Monty Python, go for it. I'm going to go a different angle now. I'm going to fly off into a more literate area. I'm going to mention Andy Weir's The Martian. The reason why is because it is really funny. It is really funny. If you haven't read this yet and you've seen the film, because my experience of this book was that I saw the film and then thought, well, there's no need to read it now because I've seen the film. So I didn't read it for ages. And then because everyone was raving about it, I thought, well, I will read it actually. I'm so glad I did because it is so good. Easily one of my favourite novels. But it was also really funny, and it's actually it's very kind of endearing humour, where he's kind of talking to himself and being sarcastic and being sort of making light of his situation. But it's actually laugh out loud funny sometimes. So some of the things he says actually makes you laugh out loud, I think. So The Martian, I'm going to put this in my 10 books that make you laugh because it is. I think it's that funny. So it's also obviously a dramatic book with a lot of tension. I mean, there's so many good things about this book. When there's certain moments in the book that really give you chills, I think, and I was getting goosebumps when his team were finding out that he was marooned, and when he started making progress and something went wrong, I'd get chills. All things like that. It's such a great book. So yeah, The Martian is good for all sorts of reasons, but it will make you laugh. It's a very nice, light, funny read, as well as being dramatic as well. Something that's not particularly dramatic but is universally loved, I think. It's very funny. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So Douglas Adams' classic work is very, very funny. It's still funny the 50th time you've read it. I've read this so many times, and I'm going to read it again soon as well. I love reading this. This is one of the books I've read the most. It's so brilliant. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure you know what it's about. Arthur Dent gets sent off with his friend Ford Prefect, who he finds out was an alien, didn't realise it, and he gets taken off the planet Earth just before it gets blown up to make way for an interstellar bypass. And they go off on loads of adventures, meeting lots of different people, mostly that Ford Prefect knows, but he's just sort of surviving, and Arthur Dent is experiencing these things for the first time. It's very funny, and you should read it if you haven't read it yet. But I'm sure if you were going to read this, you probably have already. But if you haven't, I would recommend this. It's very short, actually. I was looking at it now. I mean, what is this? 150 pages. So you could laugh for 2 hours and then carry on with your day. This is a book by a man that I've read a number of his books, and I've got even more to read as well. But I think this is my favourite. This is completely mad, this book. It's really farcical. It's like he piles layer upon layer upon layer of silliness. If you like that kind of humour where it's like a farce that just keeps going further and further into this ever-decreasing circle of madness, and you like the idea of somebody playing around with fairy tale characters and fairy tale expectations, then you might like Snow White and the Seven Samurai by Tom Holt. It's very funny. It's set up in the real world, but then very quickly goes into fairy world with so many different characters that are familiar with you, like Snow White and the Three Blind Mice and the Wolf and loads and loads of others. Every fairy tale character you can think of is in it, while these people from present day are trying to get back into real life. But yeah, it's very funny. And then I've raved about this book before. I've raved about this author before. If you see anything by Yahtzee Croshaw, get it, because it will lighten your day. It'll make you smile. It'll make you laugh out loud. And this one's my favourite. We'll Save the Galaxy for Food. I still haven't read the sequel. We'll Destroy the Galaxy for Cash. I should have read that by now. What an idiot. So yeah, I love this book very much. I was just really enjoying reading it, and I've got to read it again. Another floppy one. Just saying. And then I think, is that all? Is that 9? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then last but not least, absolutely not least, I love this man, John Hegley. I can't remember which book I read from when I did my poetry video, but I did read a bit of John Hegley before. But I'm going to read something from him from this book now. So this is from 5 Sugars Please. And he's a very special poet from the Midlands, I think. This is Malcolm, a limerick. Miserable Malcolm from Morecambe had Rottweilers but would not walk 'em. They were stuck in all day, but no muck would they lay because Malcolm had managed to cork 'em. This is called Masher. Our dog is no potato, but we still call him Spud. He comes out of our patch of garden, but which I mean some mud. And we wash him and we scrub him, but we don't put him in oil or baking foil. We don't put him onto boil or into soil because it wouldn't help him grow. Our dog is no potato. And then one last one, this is called Neck. We used to have a teacher in our school whom we called Neck. We called him Neck because he had such a long neck. He also had big sprigs of hair, which came sprouting out of his nose, but we weren't interested in those. We were too keen on his neck. We'd never seen such a neck. It was a heck of a neck. Right, that's it. So, John Hegley. If you see anything by John Hegley, you might find it amusing. Okay, so all I'm saying is laughter is a wonderful thing, and make yourself laugh by finding a poem or a song or a book or a story or a film or a TV show that makes you laugh, because it's the best thing. Have a great Christmas and make sure you laugh on Christmas Day. Bye.